the business knowledge broker,
Hey, yo, Guru, you ready?
business
Hey
marketing.
guys, this is Candace Joseph. Listen, your favorite business guru is in the house once again for another great episode of the Business Knowledge Broker Hour with Candace Joseph. When I tell you today's guest is phenomenal, she is absolutely phenomenal in everything she does. But this is the thing, you already know how I do it each and every week. The best nonprofits, the best in the business sector, the best in community activists and advocates. In this case, one of the best educators I know. Coming to the show, we have Dr. B. Pegram.
Thank you so much. I said, whoa, that's making me blush, the intro.
Now, the thing about it is, I like to give people their flowers while they're here. And I really want to thank you for everything that you do in the space of education, everything that you do in the space of African American studies, which people are going to find out about, and just being an all around great person, great sorority sister, and definitely great leader, especially of the next generation. Thank you, thank you, thank you for
Thank you
being
so
that.
much. That means a lot coming from you, the woman of all trades. You do everything. So, yes, you are an inspiration yourself.
Well, I want you to tell people a little bit about yourself.
So, I am a historian. I teach history at Prairie View A&M University. I'm also a proud member of Sigma Gamma Rho Sorority Incorporated. I am so much. I do a podcast where we talk about Black issues and we bring on scholars to tell us how we can solve some of those issues using their research and scholarly work, but we break it down to how they can use it at the grassroots level. So that's one of my own personal passions that was birthed after the murder of George Floyd. And I wanted to find a way to do something. We were in the middle of the pandemic and I felt like I had I didn't have a voice. And so I knew my activism was not large crowds, never has been. So I knew I wasn't going to protest in that way. And then my professor at the time, because I was in doctoral program,
Yeah.
suggested that I put my thoughts in gather researchers together to talk about issues that we face in the community. So there came dope conversations. And so my passion project that I'm working on right now, though, is African American museums and having a database where people who love museums or just curious about African American culture may want to find out about their own identity. You can go to this website and you can click on various states and cities and find your local African American museum. And so that is one of my favorites.
Look, I have to say, I want to take it a little bit back to the beginning though, because look, you talk about me being a woman that do everything. You are as well. Listen, I want to know, like, we all have, we those people that we want to know our history, right? But you chose to study African American, you chose that, like you wanted to do African American studies. Can you tell us a little bit why?
Yeah, it's a very personal story. That my decision was a very personal reason that I did this, and it's birthed from being a military brat. I was raised a military brat. I was, got to travel through my father's career and him being in the military. But I always felt like I didn't know who I was as a Black person. Most of the schools that I went to were majority white. All of the schools that I went to were majority white. And so even in selecting the university that I would go to, I chose an HBCU because I wanted to learn more about me and who I was as a Black person, what that meant to be Black, what Black history was, because I didn't get that growing up. And so fast forward, when I decided to go back to school, I decided to get my master's in history. And I went to Jackson State, and they have two strands that you can go through. One was African American Studies. I think the other one was like Asian Roman Empire or something that I was not interested in. And I just happened to be starting at the time that they were on the African American Studies strand, and I was so grateful. I learned more about my people, but a lot about myself. Because even going to Jackson State was an experience that I learned about myself. But until you truly study
Hmm.
African American history, there's so much. And I think I've still only tipped the iceberg of what there is to know. And so it came out of a yearning to put some puzzle pieces into history that I come from.
I love that. I love that because I remember being a high school student studying African American history, and I was like in the ninth grade. I don't even think I was supposed to be in that class. I think it was
Right.
like only for like seniors or something in high school.
You would
And they
like
were like,
to have
"Well,
that.
we got to fill your schedule." You know, it was one of those things. Well, we got to fill your schedule. We don't know what to put in here. And I was like African American studies. But you know, when you growing up, all you hear about is Rosa Parks, the MLKs,
Mhm,
you
mhm.
know, the Mary Bacall Bethunes. You know, you hear about those people, but then to really dive into the culture, the languages. Oh man, look, you're gonna make me go back to school.
Well, because it makes you realize you're normal. It
Yeah.
makes you realize, wow, there are some other people out there like me. My vernacular is not wrong. I can talk how I talk at home, and it's okay. People can understand the words that I'm saying. I don't have to explain what I'm saying. And so, yeah, it's important to connect those dots to our history and understanding where we came from. And we know that we didn't start on a slave ship. So, all those things are
Look, I love it because when I learned about the different tribes
important.
and, like I said, the different languages, and then it gets you to question, you know, your own lineage in that way. You
Yeah.
know, why, you know, like, why is my hair pattern, you know, curl pattern this way? You know, why is my nose shaped this way? Why do certain family feature people have this feature and not this feature? When I tell you it opened up a door for me, and I've had a love for history ever since.
Yes.
Yeah, I just think that is, and I think that really deepened me wanting to know about other cultures as well. You know,
Right.
just some little experience I had in ninth grade. That's it, just some little experience. But here you are. You have put together a podcast. You are a professor. Look, I want to hear it all. I want to hear about it all. I want to hear about because I was like, okay, PhD
Yeah.
in educational leadership
Right.
from, you know,
Prairie View
Prairie
A&M
View A&M
University.
University. Yes, yes, yes. And now you're a professor there. Like, what is the lane like from being a kid who mostly grew up, you know, in areas that were not, you know, that were not minority, you know, heavy,
Mhm.
to going to a black college like Jackson State, then studying at Prairie View A&M University, and then now you're a professor at Prairie View A&M University. Like, what was that path like for you?
It was a lot of turns and twists and cul-de-sacs and coming out. So I actually was a barber and loctician for 16 years before entering into the world of education. Being an entrepreneur allowed me to be the mother that I wanted to be more so at that time. And as I saw my children graduating, and when my son was in the 11th grade, I said, okay, now I can start to pursue those things that interest me so that
Mhm.
when he graduates and go off and do his thing, I have a life and I won't have to be a stalker of my kids. And so I went back to school, and going back to school, I really wasn't sure what I was going to go for. And I was talking to my husband and I said, I want to go back to school because I always loved to learn. That was not a question, but I just didn't know what to go for because here I am. I had this long career as being a barber that I loved and really had no intentions on leaving. And then my husband was like, well, go teach because you teach at church for free. Why not do it and get paid for it? And I was like, yeah. So when we think about spiritual gifts, teaching has been one of my spiritual gifts for a long time. And I always thought that to be in the form of Bible study. And then when I thought about doing it as a career, I was like, why not? And so from Jackson State to PV was kind of like a no-brainer. Once I thought about it, prayed about it, I was like, okay, maybe this is my ministry. So when I got on campus, I tell everybody, and it's probably going to sound horrible, but as a student at PV, I was kind of detached because when you're in grad school, you're not on campus, you're not a part of the campus community, you're a commuter
Yeah.
student. So it's hard to get that attachment there. But the moment that I started teaching at the campus, my love for PV grew and it just blossomed. And I think I know, and I said that this morning. It's funny, I'm doing this with you. My purpose was to teach, and my purpose was to teach at PV so that I could pour into students that look like me, that have the same yearning for history as I did, that have the same sometimes social problems, family problems that can kind of get in the way of our dreams and our passions and our purposes. And so I feel like I am supposed to be sharing my testimony of being a single mom, going to class with her daughter. I am supposed to be teaching students and saying, yeah, I know you have to work and go to school, but you got to prioritize school. I am supposed to be sharing that testimony of losing my mom right before it's time to do my dissertation, but I got to keep pushing so I can get this dissertation, because there's no way that you're going to go to school and not experience life. But you have to learn to experience life in a way that you conquer it and not succumb to it. And so
I agree with that.
yeah. And so that's how I know I'm in the right place. Is it challenging? Heck yeah. Do I want to strangle my students sometimes? Heck yeah. But I know in that struggle and in that challenge with them, I have a purpose of being there. And it's just sometimes I have to realign myself and say, okay, God, you got jokes. What is this? So I thank God for the career I have, because I do get to talk about those passions. I get to share the love for history, because unfortunately, we still living in a time where African American history is not really shared.
That's
American
true.
history is the predominant history. And
Yeah.
so when you said you had a choice to take African American studies in the ninth grade, girl,
Ninth
that's
grade.
a blessing. Not everybody gets that. I have students that come and don't know what 40 acres and a mule means.
Whew. It, I have to say, like, being a person who, I enjoy going to different places. I enjoy talking to different people. I have to say, even sometimes now, I feel like I don't know enough of African American culture, and I'm in my mid 40s, and I think about that. So I try not to be harsh on anyone who doesn't know. I feel like it's our job to educate. But this is the thing. I've seen you with your students at Prairie View A&M. Look, they love you, okay? They really do.
Some do.
And the thing is, I saw you pour into them. I seen when you pulled them to the side, they had their little excuses, and you redirected and you said, okay, but hey, you're here. Make a difference while you're here. We can cover everything else, but let's get into this. I love that. I love that, because the thing of it is that a lot of times, especially with this generation, their instant gratification, all of that, they don't realize that we, as the older generation, we really care about them.
Right.
Like, we really care, like we really want them to do well. And the thing about it is, yeah, y'all gonna knock your head against the wall because we did it, but we trying to make sure that you don't knock it as many times as we did. We just trying to help you out. And I have seen you pour into those students day and night, even to the point where I ran into a couple of your students when I came and you let me come there and be a guest lecturer, and I saw them in Walmart and they walked up to me. I was like, "Oh, y'all remember me?" Wait, he's like, "Yeah, And I love the fact that you allowed people that were Prairie View graduates to come in and actually do that those speaking sessions with those freshmen that were coming in, and even some of the upperclassmen that were there that were helping out. And I absolutely love the way you poured into your students. When I say it made my heart full, it made my heart full. Like I was like, I don't have to say nothing. I don't have to inspire the students. She didn't inspire them already. I'm just here, because I'm cute. I'm just here because I'm
She
cute.
was cute.
You have already inspired them. And I loved it. When I say I loved it, it just really, it touched my heart in a different kind of way. And it brought back all those memories of me being a Prairie View student, and where the professor would, hey, well, bother me, come ask me questions, sit outside my office. And at first you're thinking, yeah, right, okay,
Right.
whatever. But to see it in the flesh, like I did it, and then here we go. I ain't gonna say how many years later since I didn't graduate from Prairie View, but so many years later, here I am, and I'm watching it from afar, from a different lens standpoint. And it means so much more, it just means so much more to me. So, but
I
I just wanted to tell you that I love that. And how do you feel about interacting with the younger generation? Because I know sometimes us other generation, we be like, look, y'all turning our hair gray. We trying to figure out why y'all wear hoodies in the summertime. We trying to figure it out. How do you like it?
it keeps me young for sure. It keeps me close to God because you got to pray. But I think that's what the other part of being a professor is. Yes, I'm supposed to teach you content, but I think there's that mentorship that is supposed to be there. And I crack up when students say, "Oh, you like an auntie." I'm like, what? I don't
We
know.
earned that badge already. We earned that already.
Yeah,
We already aunties.
yeah, I'm an auntie. I said, at least I ain't say grandma. But I'll ride with auntie. But I think, that's a part of it. And so having people, alum like you, come back and pour into them is to show them, if you stay the course and you trust the process, you can finish.
Yeah.
I'm showing you people that struggled, they finished. I'm showing you people that went through stuff, but guess what? They finished. And so that is the purpose of bringing alumni back. But I like it because yes, it definitely keeps me young because you are trying to keep up. And just the mentoring part of it. Today, I had a student that came in, and because I had stopped her in class because she's always late, and I stopped. I said, I want to mentor you because I always pick the knuckleheads. What's wrong with me? I don't never pick the ones that's just doing right. So she's like, okay. I said, now you're gonna come see me every other Monday, and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna work through some stuff. And she's like, okay. So today was her first Monday. She was an hour late. So I said, what is going on? And so she started naming this grocery list of stuff that's going on. I was like, okay, take this notebook because I don't know why I just keep notebooks. I said, take this notebook, write your days out, and write down everything that you have to do, everything you got to do on Sunday, Monday, and go forth. So she went and did that and came back. I said, okay, you got a lot of stuff. So take your calendar and now put all your classes in it and put it on repeat to the end of the semester and then come back. So we did this a couple of times and got it. And she's like, I feel like I can see everything now. I said, yeah, because it was just rambling on in your head because it came like vomit out your mouth. I was like, we got to get some control over this, everything that you got going on. And so that is what it's about. In that moment, outside of US history, her light bulb went off and now she feels more in control of herself. And it's hard to do anything when you feel like yourself is out of control, when you have no control over your anatomy and your thoughts. And it's just like, wait a minute. And so just giving her that piece was like, huh, I did my job for today. Had nothing to do with US history. But
I love that.
that's what I was there for.
I love that. I love that because when I saw you pour in, I said, okay, all right. I was like, okay, okay, all right. I like this. I like this. Look, we're gonna switch gears a little bit because I want to talk about dope conversations.
Oh man, season
Yeah.
5 is coming up. It starts March 6th. I'm really excited about it. Um, I had this year Kelly Carter Jackson. Great author. I have Jelani Favors, great author, professor at NCAT. Um, I have Crystal Sanders, another author, and all these authors are talking about different issues in the Black community, from resistance during slavery, because Kanye put this rumor out there that we didn't fight back, we just laid there. So I'm being determined to show people that it's not true. So Jelani Favors does great work with HBCU history, and again with voting rights and the resistance. Uh, not Kelly, Crystal Sanders, same thing, talk about the history of HBCUs being that breeding ground for student organizations of resistance and being a part of government. And for me, it's a way to talk about Black issues, but not just talk about Black issues. What can we do about these issues?
Yeah.
And so we provide some solutions in a segment of the show that's called On My Block. And so I named it On My Block because in this segment, this is where we break down everything that you just heard and we share those nuggets that came from the conversation. And it's on my block because I feel like if we take these tools and use them on our block, I can take care of my block. And if you use this tool to take care of your block and somebody else uses it to take care of their block, just take care of your block. And then we can kind of take care of this issue. And so that's the premise of that. But the show has been a great outlet for me to let some of my frustrations of what I see in news,
Yeah.
what I see in our communities with a solution.
I love that. A lot of times, people start podcasts and they end them just as quick as they start.
Yeah.
But look, you got a little longevity on your hands. Give me some of your tips. Give me some of your tips to keep this longevity. Because a lot of people that are watching right now, they may be interested in, starting podcasts, or they might need some extra tips. Maybe they're in podcasting now, but they're like, how do I keep the longevity? And how do I keep, getting interesting guests? What would be some of your advice?
Find topics that interest you.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to want to talk to anybody if you're not interested in it, but find topics that interest you and reach out, shoot your shot. Those artists, those authors are on my wish list on Amazon. Those authors have been books that I've read and I'm just like, dang, he is dope. He can really write. And I just said, okay, let me shoot my shot and see what happens. And a lot of times people do this research because they want to share. They don't do this research just to stay on the bookshelf. And you'll hear that when you hear the guests talk about their research and why they're doing it, they want to share. A lot of times if you just ask, people are willing to come on. Now, when you start talking about some of your bigger names, you might have to know somebody to know somebody to know somebody. But for the most part, I think what's kept my show going is, one, I didn't try to have these 2-hour shows, hour shows. I kept it short and sweet. I think the longest show I've ever done was an hour, but I chopped it up because I wanted it to be something that my listeners could listen to on the way to work or getting dressed in the morning. And so just stay true to yourself and the things that you're interested in. I've had a couple of people reach out, want to be on the show, but it really wasn't with the topic of the show. And I knew I really wasn't going to be interested in it. And you just have to be honest and say, that might not be a show for this platform, but hey, try this one. But yeah, that I think is just stay true to yourself and why you started it. Remember your why.
Well, I love it because I look at your love for, African American studies. Then I look at the podcast that you've created where it is not only informative, but it's digestible. And it's the thing, like, you don't hold back any punches either. You are your guests. Like, I love it because, and I want people to tap in and tune in to Dope Conversations because, you don't hold any punches. And I want people to know the knowledge that you guys are giving out is jewels, but it's something to make you go,
Mm-hmm.
It makes you really think, like, like you could pull out a notebook and just start jotting down ideas of how, like you said, block by block, how you could transform even within your own household. So a lot of people, I look at it, I take it that micro, right?
Yeah.
I look at it from like how me listening to all these podcasts I'm getting great advice. How can I start it in my own house
Exactly.
and then move it out?
Right.
And I think that for me, that's really helped. And I love the fact that you are one of the catalysts that are out here helping people think, giving them the knowledge. And you're interviewing some people that I'm looking at like, wait, what? Huh? This the knowledge they finna bring to the show. I said, okay, I see my sis amping it up. I see her amping it up. But I love it. And I can't wait to hear more of those conversations. And I know you kick off next month in March. Look, I'm excited. I know you're excited.
I am, because one of my guests, Brad Franklin, um, you may know his rap name, Kamikaze. He used to rap in a group with David Banner. And
Yeah.
we went to school together. He was ahead of me, but he said, we got to make being intellectual cool again. And a lot of it is because we were talking about the Kendrick Lamar performance,
Oh, yeah.
and people were upset because they wanted to be entertained. And he said, when did not thinking become entertainment? And I was like,
Ooh,
yeah. So we dig in, like you said,
I
we
love
don't
it.
hold no punches. And and that's why the tagline of the show is, let's give them something to think about. Because we do enough talking, we do enough entertainment. We got to start really thinking, because I think by using escapism through
Mm.
entertainment, we have allowed a lot of the things that are happening in our society to happen because we're so busy being entertained.
That's true too. And then sometimes we have to be that change within the algorithms, right? I tell people all that, like, be the change within the algorithms. Be show what you want others to see, but at the same time, make sure you're doing it with love and strength and knowledge. That's just my thing. Bring that love, strength, and knowledge to the game, and it's gonna win out each and every time.
Yeah.
Listen, I cannot wait to tap in to dope conversation because I'm gonna be in the comments. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Come
I'm
on.
gonna be in the comments. Look, I don't care if it's on Spotify, Apple. I'm gonna be
It's
in
on
them
all of them.
comments. Like I'm like, oh yeah, yeah. Because I know is gonna open up more. You know what I mean? Like I said, in ninth grade, it cracked the portal for me.
Hmm.
But then here I have been over the years, and then when I see the things that you have done, I mean, look, you're an advocate, educator, podcaster, knowledge bringer, an online museum curator.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Man, when I tell you that, again, birthed out of a personal experience, I had went to Montgomery, Alabama for a convening. It was a convening of fellow activists, educators, people in education, people in the fight for social justice, and we were talking. And we visited the Legacy Museum in Montgomery, Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's three sites to this museum. African American Museum that takes you through slavery, incarceration, all these various things that we go through as Black people in America. But then they also take you to this sculpture park that had these powerful, emotion evoking statues that you can't help but go, oh my gosh. And then the last part of the museum tour is a lynching monument site.
Mm-hmm.
Baby, they have these big steel pillars, and it
Yeah.
has the city, the county, and the state, excuse me, the county and the state, and they have all the people that have been lynched in that county or state.
Yeah.
It is moving. When
Eye
I
opening.
went into the museum, you go in, checking your bag, and I'm thinking, okay, I've been to museums before, some of them on repeat. When I stepped in, it was this still calm. You hear the water crashing against the rocks. You just hear it just crashing. And they have a video of the water. And it's saying, this is the sound that Africans heard when they were being stolen. I broke down. I
Mm.
have never experienced anything like that going into a museum.
Yeah.
I go around the corner. There are jail cells. It's dark. you see coming out of the ground hands. You see faces. In the cells, you see AI figures coming saying, yeah, I've been here waiting for them, my captives, to let me free. But I don't think I'll ever see my children again. I'll
Yeah.
never see my home again. I was done. The tour guide came up, baby, take this pack of napkins. You're going to need it. You ain't going to make it through the museum. I was like, I'm not going to make it.
I understand. I understand. I think they would have had me at the sound of the waves.
I'm not going to make this. I mean, snot crying, y'all. Like, I'm done for. And so when I get home, I'm like, everybody has to experience this. I have never experienced a museum like this. And again, I'm a museum goer. I love museums. And I told my husband, every summer we're visiting museums. And he's like, okay, put it together. And I'm like, well, where do we go? Where do I start? And that's like, dang, I wish there was some database where you could just go and click the state and the city you wanted to go to, and they would show you. There was nothing. And I said, that's my research. And so for 2 to 3 years, my students and I worked together. My students, started training student researchers, and they put these states together. I assigned them states, and they find them museum and research it and all that. I put the site together. And so now it's time for the second phase. So I'm happy to share with you the second phase of this.
Ooh, exclusive. Wait, we getting exclusive? Okay.
So the second phase of this is identifying how the geographical location of museums impact the perception of Blackness. Will having a museum in your neighborhood educate people within that community what Black identity is? What does Black culture look like? What is really beyond the slave trade? And so that is what I'm working on now, really looking at does it matter where these museums are located? Then exposing those states who don't have museums.
Yeah.
When we think about Montana, they have 6 plaques throughout the whole state, not a museum. When you think about North Dakota, South Dakota, no museums. And so that's what we call a museum desert. And so we want to start exposing those. There's no way that you can be a state in 2025 and not recognize what African Americans have done for this country. And so we want to talk about it. So now we're going to go from thinking to talking. We got to talk about why you don't have no museums in your country and your state. I don't understand that. And so that's what now this is the second part of the research that we're about to look at.
Now, I'll just tell you from personal experience, and I'll make sure that we put the website in the comments and definitely run it at the bottom of the screen. But when I saw the site, all I thought about was I traveled to some of these cities and didn't even realize that within a 20-mile radius, there was an African American museum. Like I went, when I say I went state to state, because I love to travel. I went state to state and was looking like, wait a minute, I just was in this state and I could have went here. And a couple of years back, this been here longer than a couple. Okay, so for me, I looked at it kind of like that green book kind of mantra, like the green book with the African American Museum. So for me, I've made it like my mission to, if I'm going to a state, I'm picking a museum, especially if it's within 100 miles, because people know I would get in my car and I would drive somewhere for real. Like I would get on that road and I would go. And I thought it was so interesting how you guys put it together and how it was from the beginning. When I saw like the first rollout of it and you guys were still putting things together, I was so impressed at the knowledge. I mean, everything was in there. Pictures of the museum was in there, where it is. Look, you guys even had a map. Okay, we're going to show you how to get there. We're going to show you how to find it.
Yeah.
When I say I loved it, I absolutely loved it because when you talked about earlier about your ministry,
Hmm.
this is one of those things where another display of it, we get to see it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I said, okay, what else Dr. B got up her sleeve? Okay. I think that's just how I looked at it. And I saw something that was really great that we don't talk about. And I love what you said about phase two because you know a lot of us are still dealing with the fact that we don't really know a lot about African American history. And
Yeah.
I think once some people within that within our demographic, if they learn to get over that part and really embrace it, just imagine, because I think about it, we have historical black colleges, we have
Yeah.
high schools that are named after black historical figures, but you're right, museum deserts when it comes to certain areas. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I can't wait to see what you guys come up with, you and your brilliant students, and especially all the people that you've connected with
Mhm.
around the country with these museums, and then on a global scale too. I don't know. I get excited. I don't know. I
Good.
look,
I'm glad you
I know you get excited, but I'm excited for you.
Yeah, we made a couple of changes, um, where now you can go onto the state and click the city. Because I was in Chicago and I was using a website, trying to find different museums, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, because Illinois is very big. Let's break this down by city. So now you can actually go to the city and see where the museums are. And then one of the other phases that we want to add on is that where you can find black owned restaurants. So
Yeah.
we're in the process of verifying that these restaurants are still open, are still serving, and then they'll be added to the website so that when you click the city, you'll be able to see the museums, but also black owned restaurants that are in these cities.
I love that. Give us the website. So to those that are going to be tapping in on the audio, give us the
Yeah.
website.
So it's FMAM museumrepository.com. So FMAM museumrepository.com. And yes, please visit. You can even leave comments if you see, hey, you missed one, because there's some boutique museums. All of them are not federally funded. And so the
Yeah.
federally funded ones, they're going to be listed all the time. The boutique ones, because I ran into one in Florida and they didn't have a website, but it was the greatest museum that I had. Like, it was this little mom and pop museum, started by Mr. Wells, and it was a house. It was a hotel that was in the Green Book, and I just happened to look up on it because I did a Google search. We went into this house. They had the hotel registry. When they used to sign in back in the day. How about Ray Charles was in there?
Oh, that's
I was like,
history.
oh my God. Yes, I
That's
reached all the
history.
way out. So yes, we tried to include the mom and pops because she said they didn't have a website because they didn't really have the staff to keep it up. So they had the Google search, which is good because that's how I got there. But there was, um, we got to see his Ray Charles's room because they kept he would only stay here when he was on the Chitlin circuit. And so we got to see like the room that he stayed in. It was an amazing experience. I was like, this is so cool. So yes, as you can see, I love museums. But yes, I hope that everybody goes out to look at it. Leave us comments on ways that we can improve it, and we will get it done.
Ooh, I love it because now you got me excited when you was talking about the restaurants because I know I can find a hole in the wall. Because I'm one of those people, like when I go to a different city, I drive around till I get lost.
Yeah.
I want to get lost and find my way back to my hotel. And you come across some of the greatest food.
Hmm.
And then, like now with the food truck movement that's going through and the food parks, like I get excited about some things. I absolutely love that. Look, thank you for being a part of the change
Oh
agent.
yeah, because you can also find those historical restaurants that have been around since the civil rights movement. I had the pleasure of putting together a field trip for PV, and we're about to kick off on spring break. on March 10th. I'm so excited because we're going to Atlanta on one of the stops, and we're going to Pascal's restaurant.
Yeah.
Been around since 1947. Has fed like Martin Luther King, Jesse Jackson. I think Sammy Davis Jr. had been in there. We was like, whoa! So I had been before, so I'm excited to take the students so they can experience it too. And so when you think about traveling, especially when you're traveling in the South, there's so much history that's not spoken about and people don't know about. And I think that's why the website means so much to me, because we included those museums that, like you said, you could be in a city and not ever know that this museum was there.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Like I get excited, and the more I see your journey and your path, like you say, I'm gonna call it that because that's really what it is, your ministry, right? When I see your ministry grow, it really warms my heart because I see the level of commitment that you put to everything that you do. I see your heart in it. I see your soul in it. And I definitely see your soul when you wearing that blue and gold of Sigma Gamma Rho. I see that.
Yes, this has been a wonderful journey through this sorority. I have learned a lot in my chapter. I have learned a lot in the sorority. I'm so excited about regionals next week. Presenting, and I'm doing how you can use ChatGPT to be a productive soror. So
Oh,
if you're in
okay.
the Southwest region and you're going to be at regionals, come on now. So I love tech. I love teaching people how to use tech. So that's my other passion. Besides African American studies, I love to make sure that people that look at, like us, know how to operate within this tech world, because it's not going anywhere.
Now, I love that because the thing about it is you're out here teaching people how to really, amplify their voices, how to really get out there and, like you said, bring back the nerdy side being cool again. I love that.
It's
And
cool.
look, I need a t-shirt that say that. Like y'all need to get a t-shirt line that
Right.
say that, bring back the intelligence of cool. Like I
Yeah.
love that because you guys are not only you're curating spaces where the unheard can be heard.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
I'd like to call it, because my students have a social media page that I create so they can share their work, and it's called Amplifying Voices,
yeah.
because a lot of times our voices aren't amplified. They
Mhm.
have been quieted, erased, and so oral histories are a way to bring that back, and that's something that will be on the website as well. We are going to start interviewing people and learning why are museums important, and like, and what role has museums played in your life. So we'll definitely have to get a mic out in front of you so we can have you on the website.
I love museums. And like you said, the peace and the calm that comes over you, but I also like the creativeness that it brings. A lot of times when I go to the museum, I always take a notepad or a tablet or something, an iPad or something like that, and I'll sit there and write out my ideas.
Mm,
For it could be something that I'm thinking of in my head for a client, or it could be something that I want to talk about on podcast space, or and a business idea for a friend that's been talking about how they want to do a business. I
yeah.
sit there and look. Sometimes I write poetry too, but you gonna tell nobody. Sometimes I write poetry, but I just think about how museums really open my eyes up to see different things. And
Hmm.
now with the surgeons of, like you said, the amplified voices that you guys are doing with the students, I can't wait to hear more of their oral presentations and the things that they're doing because right now you're teaching them that they are history and they need to write their own history and they're capturing it. Let me tell you something. That within itself is innovation. That is innovation. Like you said, you're into tech. You're look. Thank you. Thank you for your ministry. I'm just saying, like, thank you for your. I'm glad that the heavens opened up and gave you this ministry. I'm so serious because we really have to really tap into our gifts,
Yeah.
and you did it with no fear. You did it with
Oh, it
no
was some
fear.
fear, but what I did was acted out of obedience, because I really do. will say that, God gave me these ideas. God allowed me to grow through the experience of my life. And I am here because of those experiences, but I know my experiences culminate into a testimony. And
I
that
love
testimony
it.
is to help those get their passions and their dreams out.
So you say I'm the woman that do it all. Let's go back. Here we go. University professor,
Mhm,
curator of an online African American museum directory,
mhm,
innovative teacher who has brought about amplified voices to Prairie View A&M University, where students get to be storytellers and they learn to do it through tech and to put their history down, right?
yeah,
Then here you are working on phase two of your project, where you're including restaurants, where you're including, asking the hard questions. Why isn't there an African American museum in your state or near your city?
mhm,
Then here you are a member of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority and also an advisor to the young women of, of Sigma Gamma Rho sorority, the undergraduate sorors, mentor to many, educator to lots, dope conversations podcast host,
mhm.
and all around great intellect.
Oh, thank you.
Come on, Dr. B. I love it.
I I'm just humbled that I'm able to do this. And I'm humbled that, I come from being a single mom where I was supposed to be a statistic. My students, my children were supposed to be a statistic, but God saw fit for something else.
And that's the thing, too. Like tonight, you gave us some nuggets. You said it's okay to have fear as long as you're obedient and follow through with what you want to do.
Mhm.
You're teaching us to think outside of ourselves and always think about others, but also project it into the future while we're working in the present.
Yeah.
Tonight, you told us about how history is important.
Yeah.
Regardless of regardless of race. Of course, we were specifically talking about African American culture, but you
Right.
say all cultures should know
Yeah.
African American history,
Mhm.
and definitely more than 1 month out of the year,
That
right?
part.
There's a 365 thing here. Thank you for being dope.
Aw,
Thank you.
thank you. I appreciate you giving me my flowers, but also that really did make me blush because I really don't really sit down and think about all the stuff that I do. I just know that it's for a purpose, and I just want to make sure that I leave a positive impact on this earth. That when I'm gone, people can say, you know what, she really did what she could do for our community, and she did what she could do in God's kingdom, and God worked through me. And I thank God for that.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you for just doing what you do. Now, Dr. B,
Yes.
I have something here that I like to call.
Uh oh.
This is called the fast lane,
Okay.
where I'm going to shoot a question out to you and just come up with the first authentic answer you have.
Ooh, this
All right?
dangerous. But come on.
All right.
Look, my line name was outspoken, so come on. You asked for this.
All right. Okay. All right. We're going to call this the fast lane.
Okay.
What's your morning mantra?
Oh Lord, I gotta get up. Um, let's get it. Let's get it.
All right. Uh, if your podcast was a movie, what would the title be?
The revolution is televised. We talking about all things black.
All things black. Okay. All right. So look, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna stay along that line of questioning, right?
Hmm.
So they say every superhero needs that theme music, right?
Hmm.
Look, and you are our superhero right now. You are it in the African American studies world, in my opinion. Okay, because on this podcast, I hold the keys. So, in my opinion, you are superstar in my eyes. So, if you walked in a room and you had to have your theme music walk in with you,
Mhm.
what would that theme music be? What would be the song that would be played?
Lead the way. I'm about to lead the way. Yep, that's my song. That's my song. And that's what I play when I'm about to do the thing. That's what I'm playing.
That's what I'm talking about. She said she got her theme music rolling. All right, so this is the thing. You know, I have seen you in many different outfits and wares and the finery that you put on. What is your go-to power outfit? Like, what's that one that's just like, yeah, I'm doing this?
My go-to power outfit
Mm-hmm.
that I said I killed it, a pair of slacks, a pair of Jordan 1s, and a sweater. And I'm good.
I love it.
And I'm going to rock it every time because I'm confident in that.
I love that. A little bit of business and a little bit of party at the same time. I absolutely love that. All right. What's a habit that you have that you absolutely swear by?
Reading my scripture before I do anything else on my phone, before I brush my teeth, before I check an email. I'm going to pick my phone up and read the day's scripture.
Hmm. All right. What's your secret talent?
I can shoot pool. I used to shoot pool for money.
Listen, that tuition not gonna pay itself, okay?
That's what it was. It was at Jackson State.
look, that tuition not gonna pay itself. Okay, I'm gonna keep going along those lines.
Okay.
What was the best investment you ever made in yourself?
The best investment I ever made in myself
Mm-hmm.
was furthering my education. I'm a learner. I thrive off of knowledge.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, because I know you into the dope conversations. 'Cause I'm gonna keep saying dope conversations because I want people to tap in.
Tap in.
Like, how do you keep up with all the trends? Because you cover the you cover everything on the educational side of it. You cover the technology side of it, but then you also have those moments of the pop culture. How do you keep up with all the trends and everything that's going on? How do you keep up?
The news. Definitely watch the news a lot. I'm a news junkie, but also I talk to the young folks. My son, don't tell nobody, but I listen to him. Child, that's dangerous. Yeah, I listen to my son. He very intellectual for his age. He thinks very far than his age. Can hold a conversation, and I ask him like, what y'all be doing?
Yeah.
What you thinking?
I love it. I love it. Okay, so look, with all things that you do, all the hats that you wear, all of the things that you juggle, right? How do you unplug?
Woo! Sabbath Sunday. I don't do anything on Sunday.
Okay.
I have made some folks mad, but Sunday is the day of cuddles, church, movies, and eating. That's how I rejuvenate, renew myself, and just be at peace. On Sundays, I have learned to just exist. I try very little of anything. It's just I'm a being that day, just a being.
I love it. I love it. And I got one more question for you.
Okay.
You know, in the space of African American history, we've seen great stories be told, especially in movie form.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you in the movie space, right? When we talk about African American culture.
Okay.
Uh, I gotta know. I gotta know. Morgan Freeman or Denzel Washington?
Ooh. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go with Denzel. And it's hard for me
Ooh.
because I really like Morgan Freeman, but there is nothing that Denzel has been in that has missed. I've watched a couple of Morgan, and I'm like, "Now, Morgan, you did that for the money," but Denzel does not miss. He really just does not. I can watch him in anything, and it's like I never watched him in anything.
Okay. All right. Good point. Good point. Okay. I love it. I gotta throw a curveball in every now
Like,
and then.
that one was a hard one. Like, really, I was like, "Ooh, that was a hard one."
Yeah. It's definitely a hard one.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. B, I want you to give us a wrap up, give us some words of your wisdom and definitely tell people where they can contact you, connect with you. Definitely give them the website for the museum directory. And look, maybe they need to send you some listings, maybe some places out there that you need to know about. How can they do that?
So, one, you can follow me on Instagram at Bequita Pegram. You can actually follow me on Facebook at Bequita Pegram. You can also email me at bequitapegram@gmail.com. And so if you want to have a question, you want to talk, hey, email me. But to give me suggestions for the topic of my shows, definitely reach out on podcast for Apple. And you can reach out on Spotify or any major network. But those are the two that I most regularly check. But yeah, that is how to keep up with what I have going on. Busybody, because I actually have some, you'll first to know, I have a partnership that I'm working with Gale Databases with, and we'll be writing some things for them in their blog. So I'm excited about that. So I'll definitely share the link with you so you can check it out.
Look, definitely love it. The things that you're doing, the projects that you're doing, all I have to say is congratulations to everything. And I look forward to see what you do in the future. Because believe me, I am along for the ride. Okay. I am here to stay, on the Dr. B train. Okay. I am here to stay. And give us some last words of wisdom before we close out the show.
Put God first and strive for everything that you think you want to do. Just try it.
Well, with that being said, we're going to go ahead and close it out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being my guest tonight. It has been intellectual. It has been enlightening. And as you can see, it has had me smiling the whole time. Because when I say genuine people, I love their energy. I love intellectual conversations. And I love the greatness that you bring. Thank you for being so awesome. And thank you for being greater.
Thank you. Oh, you make me cry.
Well, hey guys, look, that's the episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Business Knowledge Broker Hour with Candace Joseph. When I tell you, look, I'm going to keep bringing you the best of the best each and every week. It's those things that's going to entertain you, but it's going to bring you some knowledge. But at the same time, look, we're going to talk a little bit of business. So, as before, CEO is out.
Social
Good night.
resources, strategies, tips, the Business Knowledge Broker